I bet you this is how Quantum TV is sitting right now in my mind, not in reality, before he says I'm cyberbullying him. Meanwhile, he came against the LGBT community, and I don't stand for that. Allegedly, he said he was hacked. No, but seriously, Quantum TV is wringing his hands and rocking back and forth in my mind because I'm a narrativist. So this is all fictional. This is a fiction. It's a comedy sketch. I'm an actor because Quantum TV is the perfect example of why we need brand narrativists, and everybody needs a brand narrativist. That would be me. Before you come onto YouTube, you can't just open a channel. You need a brand narrativist to help you stick to your brand narrative. Okay? And you do that by employing a brand strategy. And your brand strategy involves creating your brand into a personality and then sticking to that personality with the end goal of getting people in your lane, in your subculture, to find you and like you and buy your stuff. It's all about buying stuff. We're selling stuff so they can buy. It's capitalism. That's the world we live in. And so with Quantum TV, he could have had like great brand deals with television companies and gotten free TVs and stuff and had an affiliate link or something, but he chose a strategy, a brand strategy, to be hated. And so my thing is, okay, that's cool, like choose the strategy to be hated. But then when you get hated, take the hate and do something with it, whatever it is. If that's how you get off, that's how you get off. But then don't get hate that you wanted and then get angry about the hate. I mean, the Act Man, the YouTuber, the Act Man is probably super excited right now. It's just, I mean, nobody enjoys the downfall of somebody else. And I'm sure Act Man doesn't, but considering his livelihood was taken away because he went against a guy who loves hate, aka Quantum TV, allegedly in my mind. God. I was watching a video by June the King, and it's so funny because everybody is so terrified of this man because of what he did to the Act Man. And so nobody can even say anything. Meanwhile, he allegedly is threatening to, well, not allegedly. I saw a part in June the video where he was saying people must kill themselves in the game. Do you know that there's a guy who sent the same message to some sheriff or something, and he said kill yourself in Minecraft, and then he got arrested and now he's like facing jail time? I'm not saying that that should happen. I would never wish jail on anybody. But I'm just saying, if your brand is to be hated, fine. But then don't copy strike people who just have an opinion about your brand, who are confirming your brand story. Now, normally, if you have a brand strategist on board, you would figure out what your brand story is. And that's linked to your personality. And so you would have to figure out, where are you taking your viewers? What journey are you going on? You're going from A to B to C. And this A to B to C journey has to do with you establish who you are, you develop what you're about, and then there has to be some sort of fulfillment or payoff for the audience. And so part of that payoff, if you are a archetype or character who loves hate, part of that payoff has to be how you get off. Like if we watch your stuff and we know that you're probably just trolling, how you fulfill that, how we know that you're not psychotic, is the end, the C, the fulfillment. So do you just use that for more publicity? I would understand that if Quantum TV was essentially pushing people's buttons just to get more publicity, that would make sense because then he's getting something out of it. But in order to get that publicity, you need to be like FouseyTube. You need to let people keep their videos of you up so that we can see you and you can reach a wider audience, and then you get more trolls or whatever you want to call your fans to come and sign up, and then you get a huge following, and then you can get free TVs and PS5s or Xboxes that you said suck, allegedly. So in this case, it's the fulfillment part. It's the C of the ABC in your brand narrative, Quantum. Not that I'm talking to him directly. That is making everybody confused. And then it comes off as psychotic and as unhinged. And then now with the latest developments of the real life court drama, it kind of confirms some of the allegations that have been made by others and are being repeated in my mid-season review of the culture of the electronic sphere, because electronics is part of one of my brand narratives, hashtag night game. It's not seeming like your strategy is working, and so this is why I absolutely believe people need a brand strategist. Call me if you need help. Not you, just general people. Because, okay, well, no, because that wouldn't work for my brand, you see. And this is why my show, Simple, is so kind of one of my favorite shows that I'm developing, because literally in the treatment, the writer's treatment, I say that the point of the show, yes, it makes fun of the red pill, black pill, and blue pill community. It's called Simp Pill. But ultimately, it's about how any Yahoo can get a camera and sit down and become an expert. And there's no vetting process, there's no qualifications, there's nothing. Like, you can just get a camera and start telling people how to do XYZ, and people are just supposed to believe you. And that's one of the reasons why I've been researching and following some of the stories in the gaming world, because Night Game is where Simple comes from, and it's about gaming. It's about alternate reality games. It's about augmented reality. And so that's how I came across this, this Quantum TV guy who, according to June the King, I didn't say it, okay? Don't come after me. I'm just an actor. But in June the King, he was saying how this guy ran a TV calibration channel telling you what settings to use on your TV and what TV to buy. And because a lot of people don't even know how TVs work, I mean, you just turn it on, you watch your stuff, as long as you've got good sound and you can see colors, it's fine. So nobody really could call this guy out on anything in whatever he said, even though Ninjagician or Ninjician and all of these people did try to call him out, and then they were getting stalked, basically. See, that's the other weird thing, because I believe in the stalking thing. I think they were stalking them. In my mind, I'm not making a statement of fact. I'm just saying, in my mind, as a storyteller, I would suspend disbelief enough to see that happening, which makes it even weirder because he's allegedly, Quantum now is allegedly being hacked, threatening the LGBT community, and then he's being threatened, him and his family, and now in reality though, Ninjishan is the one being threatened. That's unhinged. Like if he filmed it and it was all a big troll, like a joke, and then he puts the video out and he says, this is how I messed with this guy's mind, that would be entertaining for some people and that would make sense. Like there's a payoff. It's like, okay, we go from A, I'm an expert in electronics, to B, I'm gonna shit on everyone's opinion, and then C, so that I can get publicity. Like that narrative trajectory makes sense. But to be like, okay, I'm an expert in stuff, I'm gonna shit on everybody, and then when I do get noticed for what my brand promise, then I'm going to try and delete everything and disappear and play the victim. It's very, 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 very strange. And so, with the recent news of the court case of something about obstruction of justice and all of this madness, of course, everyone who was involved, who was copy stricken by him, is eating popcorn at this moment. And it's such a weird thing to, for me as an actor, to see these civilians acting insane. But at the same time, this is how, as um, I'm developing Simple, the script has been written, but as I'm, learning more and keeping my ear to the ground more, doing character research and stuff, these are some of the things that I'm looking at. Like I was watching a documentary about Trainwreckstv or Trainwreckstv, and the documentary was by Kira, and it was my first time finding out about this Trainwreckstv person. But I was so surprised. I didn't know you could make $360 million from video games. That's wild. And it was interesting looking at his story because from what I've seen, and I've just seen that one thing, I don't know anything. I watched another video of his just to see like more, but I only know him for like a day. But basically, it seemed like he was just trying to be normal and trying to be like a regular person, and then everyone was jealous of him and everyone was picking on him. That was very clear. And in his brand story of A to B to C, he was always consistent throughout because with his C, his fulfillment is that he's good at what he does. That's what his brand promises, that yeah, I'm good at what I do. Like he's risky. He's very risky in what he says and does. And then he actually wins at the end. So it gives you a full circle moment when you watch his content, and he's also quite funny. So in that case, that's where you can be kind of rebellious, but still make you can be rebellious, but still fulfill your audience, still make sense. Whereas with Quantum TV, he's rebellious, fine, but then he goes against it. There's no fulfillment of that rebellion because then he tries to act holier than thou, allegedly, to other people who are not even doing a tenth of what he's doing. And that's what I've noticed in looking at both of these create content suppliers, whatever it's called, YouTubers, entertainers, I don't know, these subjects. And so now going back to my development, I'm like, this is really fun information to use to beef up my script. Because in Simple, there are a lot of different characters. I play Michael Hunt, which you've seen me developing, and when sweeps come in September, I'll continue with the experiment that we've been doing, or the character study we've been doing. This is just the break time. And so one of the things I really want to add in there is showing how, in addition to the fact that anyone can go online and just put their personality on and show who they are, I also want to show that sometimes there isn't really a rhyme or reason as to why somebody um, makes an impact with the audience, other than the fact that they have a a take on a subject, right? So normally, like in school, in academia, you're taught to follow the steps ABC. But in real life, it doesn't work like that. In real life, it just could go to B, and then the public will fill in the C. And so I'm thinking, you know, because this is a comedy, um, and, you know, with Trainwreckstv, that's more of like a proper story arc. It makes sense. It's normal. So it's not, you can't, not that I'm making fun of anyone, but it's comedy as a genre is about making fun of low behavior, like low brow behavior. And so we can't really use Trainwreckstv as an example because he makes sense. But with this quantum person, quantum computers, we it is because there is no sense at the end of it. So the opportunity for comedy is greater, and it's evidenced by all of the content I'm sure is going to come out in the next couple of days, weeks, of people making comedic content out of his current predicament. And so in my original script, I kind of made my character very ABC, very well fleshed out and defined in terms of his goal. But now I'm thinking I should actually subvert the trope and leave out that seam. Like, so build up to a certain like trajectory and then just pull it out at the end to leave the audience in a reactionary state, which I find is huge in the gaming community. Like, I was seeing people smashing their keyboards, and it's a very emotional space. So, obviously. And so, yeah, all of this information, and this is my show, so I don't want Quantum coming and claiming copyright. I wrote this show like 2 years ago. The script has been done. I'm just doing character research to beef up the the storyline. So yeah, it's very cool to see how comedy in this space can be derived from just literally not having a payoff to your content. If you take out the payoff, that's where the comedy comes in. Because then essentially the character's working against themselves. I mean, it's classic stuff, kind of like Veep, or Larry David. Like, we know who he is. He's a famous writer in the show. He meets these famous people, but he's super picky and he's very set in his ways. And then the payoff is he doesn't get to do the projects he wants to do because he always ends up messing it up. He always puts his foot in his mouth. This is Larry David in Curb Your Enthusiasm. And because he's missing that thing where he never wins, kind of like in Sunny, It's Always Sunny, that's where the comedy comes in. And I think it's very different from like the olden days, the olden days, like the olden days of comedy where they gave people some kind of payoff, even if it was, they would always make it something else, but at least it would be something, like in, I don't know, what's comedy, Friends, or like they would have an end and a resolution. I don't know. I've only seen like one episode of Friends. Um, I'm just trying to think of something that everyone will see because I watch very underground comedies. But yeah, so I know now I'm thinking of writing stuff. So yes, I just wanted to put this up as a memory, a thought, so that some people write down their ideas in a notebook and then the notebook gets full very quickly. At Scribble Bytes, we scribble on the megabytes on the video. So this is my scribble. And then when I go open the good old Trelby and write, I will fire this up and then remember my thoughts for the video. That's what Scribble Bytes means, by the way. So yes, I think I've covered everything I needed to. And if Quantum TV does happen to see this, which I doubt, don't take it personally. When you get online and put yourself in front of a camera, you relinquish control over how people see you. Because that's something you should have thought of before you turned on the camera. And that's why every YouTuber needs a brand strategist to define a brand narrative. And so just like I am putting my image out there, voice, likeness into the public to be done with as they see fit, as Charlie Manor the actor, you also have to understand, go to the About section to see Charlie Manor the actor Instagram and website. But just as you put your stuff online, by the way, I've never seen Deadpool or Marvel stuff, but I know through popular culture that Deadpool is supposed to be in the LGBT community. So why are you wearing a Deadpool mask and then pretending and then allegedly writing that you want to go against the LGBT community? That's so stupid. We need more love in the world, not division. So, like something's not right over there. Something mental, there's something mental going on over there. Um, have you ever heard of a silverback? Do you know what a silverback is? Pink. So yeah, everything is pink. Everything is pink. So yes, if Quantum is watching this, leave me alone. This is an academic research thought to study so I can write. It's not about you. I'm not talking about you personally. I'm talking about you, Quantum, the cultural element, cultural idea, concept that is now belongs to the internet. You need to, everyone needs to have a real life outside of social media so that they remember who they are. and that they don't take things that happen on the internet as if it's reality. Because you don't go up to Leonardo DiCaprio and say, "Are you the Wolf of Wall Street?" because he's just an actor. And as a classically trained actor myself, I definitely understand that whenever you put a camera on a subject, you alter the movements and being of a subject. It's no longer the actual person, which is why I personally think anybody should be able to say anything they want online, as long as they know that it will then become part of the public consciousness, and then other people will say stuff about it. But the minute you try and copyright strike people and try and silence people, that's when you start taking away their right to create. And as people who are trained creatives, we have creative license to do this. And some people, even if you're not trained, I'm not being a snob about it, I'm just saying some people train by just doing. And that's part of their training, just pulling out a camera and doing it. That's part of training too, so no one can silence you. And that's the issue. Just let it be, let it exist, because we are all living on this planet together. So we all need to let each other be. And my job as a storyteller, actor, whatever, is to observe and then make shows about it that are funny or scary or dramatic or whatever. So go to the playlist and watch the simple videos. It's called the Simple Rules, the playlist. SIMP, Simp. Simple Rules, and you'll see the kind of humor I'm going for. It's just making fun of popular culture, the manosphere, feminism. Everyone is involved, and it's kind of tongue-in-cheek. My references are Lisa Kudrow, Julia Louis-Dreyfus, HBO comedy style, and Sacha Baron Cohen. So, you know, it's I didn't just wake up and make this stuff up. There's like research behind it, which is not strikeable. Remember when you could say stuff without giving like 250,000 disclaimers? You could just say what you wanted to say without having to spend 30 minutes on a disclaimer, because anyway, you get the point. So I'm gonna leave Quantum to going back to rocking back and forth, wringing his hands. Oh my goodness, what is he? Okay, cut.